Dr. Vexitari looked at the medical reports on his desk with tired eyes. It had been another quiet day at the Galactic Medical Research Station, Ethan. The station floated peacefully in space, far from any planets or busy trade routes. Most days were like this, checking routine files, updating medical databases, and waiting for something interesting to happen. The Zephyrian doctor was tall and thin, with blue skin that sparkled under the station's lights. His forearms moved quickly as he sorted through the papers. He had been working at the station for over 20 years, studying different alien species and their medical needs. In all that time, he thought he had seen everything the galaxy could offer. That was when the emergency alarm started blasting through the station. Dr. Vexitari jumped up from his chair, his papers scattering across the floor. The red lights were flashing, and the computer voice was speaking in urgent tones. Emergency medical assistance requested. Unknown species vessel in distress. Repeat. Unknown species vessel in distress. Unknown species? Dr. Vexitari had never heard those words before at the station. The galaxy was well mapped, and every intelligent species was known to the medical community. He rushed to the communication center where other doctors and nurses were already gathering. On the main screen, they could see a strange ship floating in space. It was smaller than most vessels they knew, with a design that looked both simple and sturdy. Parts of the ship were damaged and smoke was coming from what looked like the engine area. "This is Captain Jake Martinez of the UES Discovery," a voice came through the speakers. The voice sounded strange to Dr. Vexitari. It had a roughness to it that he had never heard before. "We have suffered engine failure and have injured crew members. We are requesting immediate medical assistance." Dr. Vexitari looked at his assistant, Dr. Nimtar, a small creature with 6 eyes and green fur. "Have you ever heard of this species before?" he asked. Dr. Nimtar shook his head. "Never. The computer shows no records of any species called humans in our database." "Humans?" Dr. Vexitari repeated the word carefully. It felt strange on his tongue. "That's what they call themselves," Dr. Nimtar said, pointing at the data screen. "They say they come from a planet called Earth." Dr. Vexitari made a quick decision. "Prepare the medical bay. We'll bring them aboard and help them. Send a shuttle to their ship immediately." Within an hour, the shuttle returned with 12 of the strangest beings Dr. Vexitari had ever seen. The humans were tall, but not as tall as Zephyrians. They walked on only 2 legs and had only 2 arms each. Their skin was different shades of brown and pink, and hair grew from the tops of their heads in various colors. But what struck Dr. Vexitari most was how they acted. Several of the humans were clearly injured. He could see blood, broken bones, and burns. According to everything he knew about biology, these beings should have been unconscious or dying. Instead, they were walking, talking, and some were even helping to carry their more injured friends. Captain Martinez was a medium-sized human with dark hair and brown skin. He had a large cut across his forehead that was bleeding, but he seemed completely alert. "Thank you for helping us," he said. To Dr. Vexitari, "My crew is hurt, but they're tough. They'll make it." Dr. Vexitari stared at the captain. The cut on his head would have knocked out most species he knew. "Please, let us examine you first," he said. "You appear to be injured." Captain Martinez touched his forehead and looked at the blood on his fingers. "Oh, this? It's just a scratch. Take care of my people first. Lieutenant Amy Foster has a broken leg, and Engineer Pete Sullivan was exposed to radiation when the engine blew." Dr. Vexitari felt confused. Just a scratch? The wound was deep enough to see bone. He led the humans to the medical bay, where his team was waiting with their best equipment. Lieutenant Foster was a young woman with yellow hair. She was sitting on a medical bed, and Dr. Vexitari could see that her leg was badly broken. The bone was sticking out through her skin and there was blood everywhere. But instead of screaming or unconscious from pain, she was giving orders to other crew members. "Pete, make sure you tell the doctors about the radiation exposure," she said firmly. "And Jake, don't let them worry about my leg until they check everyone else." Dr. Vexitari had never seen anything like it. A broken bone like that should have left any being he knew unable to think clearly. The pain alone should have made her pass out. But this human was alert, calm, and still trying to take care of others. Engineer Sullivan was even more puzzling. The scanner showed that he had been exposed to enough radiation to kill 3 Garathians. Garathians were known as one of the toughest species in the galaxy, but Sullivan was standing up, asking if he could help fix their medical equipment because it looks like it could use some upgrades. Dr. Vextari called for his strongest painkillers. The dose he prepared would have put a crystalline warrior to sleep for days. He carefully injected it into Lieutenant Foster's arm, expecting her to become drowsy immediately. 5 minutes passed. 10 minutes. Lieutenant Foster was still wide awake and talking. "Did you give me something for the pain?" she asked. "Because it still hurts quite a bit." Dr. Vextari checked his equipment twice. The dose had been correct. The medicine was working properly. But somehow this human was barely affected by medicine that should have knocked her unconscious. He looked around the medical bay at the other humans. They were all acting the same way, alert, helpful, and seemingly unaffected by injuries that should have been deadly. Captain Martinez was helping to move equipment despite his head wound. Sullivan was drawing diagrams to show the medical team how to improve their radiation detectors. Dr. Vexitari felt a strange excitement building in his chest. In 20 years of medical practice, he had never encountered anything like these humans. They seemed to break every rule of biology he knew. He pulled out his personal recording device and began to make notes. Something told him that this day would change everything he thought he knew about medicine and biology. These humans were something completely new, and he had the feeling that studying them would be the most important work of his career. As he watched the impossible patients, Dr. Vexitari couldn't help but wonder what kind of planet could produce beings this resilient. What kind of world would create creatures that could survive injuries that would kill anything else in the known galaxy? He was about to find out that Earth was unlike any planet in their databases, and that humans were far stranger and more wonderful than he could ever imagine. Dr. Vexitari could not sleep that night. He kept thinking about the humans in his medical bay. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Lieutenant Foster sitting calmly, with her broken bone sticking out of her leg. He saw Engineer Sullivan walking around with enough radiation in his body to kill a small army. He saw Captain Martinez acting like the deep cut on his head was nothing more than a tiny scrape. The next morning, Dr. Vexitari sent an urgent message to Dr. Hrimtok on the planet Crystallos. Dr. Hrimtok was the best universal biology expert in the galaxy. If anyone could help him understand these strange humans, it would be him. Dr. Hrimtok arrived on the station 2 days later. He was a crystalline, which meant his body was made of living crystal that changed colors based on his emotions. Right, now he was a calm blue color as he walked through the station's halls with Dr. Vexitari. "So these humans have you completely puzzled?" Dr. Hrimtok asked. His voice sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Completely," Dr. Vexitari replied. "I have never seen anything like them. They should all be dead, but instead they are, helping my nurses organize the medical supplies. They entered the medical bay where the humans were staying." Dr. Hrimtok stopped walking, and his crystal body turned from blue to bright orange, the color of surprise. Lieutenant Foster was sitting on her bed, but she was not resting. She had her broken leg in a cast, but she was using a portable computer to write reports. When she saw the doctors, she smiled and waved. "Good morning, doctors," she said cheerfully. "How are you today?" Dr. Hrimtok's crystals flickered between orange and yellow. He had never seen a patient with such serious injuries act so normal. He pulled out his medical scanner and pointed it at Lieutenant Foster. The readings made no sense. Her bone was healing, but it was healing far too fast. Her blood pressure was stable even though she should have been in shock. Her brain activity showed she was alert and thinking clearly, despite the pain she must be feeling. "This is impossible," Dr. Hrimtok whispered to Dr. Vexitari. "According to my scanner, she should be unconscious from pain and blood loss." Dr. Vexitari nodded. "Watch this," he said. He walked over to Engineer Sullivan, who was sitting in a chair reading a book about space engine repair. "Pete, would you mind if Dr. Hrimtok examines you?" Sullivan looked up and grinned. "Sure thing, Doc, but I'm feeling much better." That radiation treatment you gave me really helped. Dr. Hrimtok scanned Sullivan and his crystals turned bright red, the color of shock and fear. The human still had massive amounts of radiation in his body. Any other species would have been dead within hours, but Sullivan was not only alive, he looked healthy and strong. How is this possible? Dr. Hrimtok asked. The radiation levels in your body should have killed you 3 times over. Sullivan shrugged. I don't know. I feel fine. Maybe humans are just tough. Dr. Hrimtok decided to run more detailed tests. He took blood samples from all the humans and studied them under his most powerful microscopes. What he found made him question everything he knew about biology. Human blood was incredible. It carried far more oxygen than any species he had ever studied. The red blood cells were packed so tightly together that they could deliver oxygen to body parts even when the circulation was damaged. But that was not the most amazing part. The amazing part was what happened when Corporal Lisa Wang accidentally cut her hand on a piece of broken equipment. Dr. Hrimtok watched in amazement as her blood began to clot almost immediately. The bleeding stopped in less than a minute. That should take at least 10 minutes, Dr. Hrimtok said, his crystals flashing between colors so fast they looked like a rainbow. How did your blood clot so quickly? Lisa looked at her hand, which had already stopped bleeding. I don't know. That's just what blood does, right? Dr. Hrimtok ran more tests on the blood sample. He discovered that humans had something called platelets that worked like tiny repair crews in their blood. When there was damage, these platelets rushed to the area and sealed it up quickly. No other species had anything like this. But the real shock came when Dr. Hrimtok learned about human blood volume. He was examining Captain Martinez when he noticed something strange. Captain, Dr. Hrimtok said carefully, our scans show that you have lost about 15% of your blood from your head injury. Are you feeling weak or dizzy? Captain Martinez thought about it for a moment. A little tired maybe, but nothing too bad. Why? Dr. Hrimtok's crystals turned white, the color of complete disbelief. 15% blood loss would kill most species in the galaxy. You should be unconscious or dying. Captain Martinez looked surprised. Really? Humans can lose up to about 20% of their blood and still be okay. We have extra blood in storage in our bodies. Extra blood in storage? Dr. Hrimtok repeated weakly. Yeah, Captain Martinez said. Our spleen holds extra blood for emergencies. When we need it, our body releases it into our circulation. Dr. Hrimtok had to sit down. His crystals were now cycling through every color he had, which meant his mind was completely overwhelmed. Humans had backup blood supplies. What kind of death world could create beings with backup blood supplies? Dr. Vexistari helped his friend to a chair. There is more, he said gently. Tell him about the bone density scans. Dr. Hrimtok looked at the bone scans Dr. Vexistari handed him. Human bones were incredibly dense and strong. They were designed to handle impacts and stress that would shatter the bones of any other species. Their muscle fibers are the same way, Dr. Vexistari continued. They have redundant systems everywhere. If one muscle gets damaged, others can take over the work. Dr. Hrimtok studied the muscle scans. Human muscles were built like cables with multiple fibers working together. Even if half the muscle was damaged, the other half could still function. It is like they were designed for war, Dr. Hrimtok said quietly. Every system has a backup. Every part can work even when damaged. That is what I thought too, Dr. Vexistari agreed. But according to them, they come from a peaceful exploration mission. Dr. Hrimtok spent the rest of the day running every test he could think of. He tested human reflexes, human healing, human pain tolerance, and human endurance. Every test showed the same thing. Humans were far tougher than any species should be. When he was done, Dr. Hrimtok sat in the station's cafeteria with Dr. Vexistari. His crystals were a dull gray color, which meant he was exhausted and confused. I have been studying biology for 50 years, Dr. Hrimtok said slowly. I have examined over 300 different species from across the galaxy, but I have never seen anything like these humans. What do you think it means? Dr. Vexistari asked. Dr. Hrimtok looked out the window at the stars. I think it means that their home planet, this Earth, must be the most dangerous world in the galaxy. Only a death world could create beings this resilient. Dr. Vextari nodded. Tomorrow, I want to interview them about their home. I want to know what kind of planet could produce such incredible creatures. Dr. Hrimtok's crystals flickered with a weak yellow color, the color of curiosity mixed with fear. I am not sure I want to know. If the planet is dangerous enough to create beings like this, it might be too terrifying to imagine. But both doctors knew they had to learn more. These humans were going to change everything they thought they knew about medicine and biology. The question was, were they ready for the truth about Earth? The next morning, Dr. Vexitari and Dr. Hrimtok sat down with Captain Martinez in the station's interview room. Dr. Hrimtok had his recording equipment ready, and his crystal body was a nervous purple color. Dr. Vexitari had prepared a long list of questions about Earth and human biology. Captain Martinez, Dr. Vexitari began, we would like to learn more about your home planet. Our medical scans show that humans are incredibly tough, much tougher than any species we know. We think this might be because Earth is a very dangerous place. Captain Martinez looked surprised. Dangerous? Earth is actually pretty nice. Sure, we have some rough areas, but most of the planet is quite pleasant. Dr. Hrimtok's crystals flickered to orange. Could you tell us about the atmosphere on Earth? What do you breathe? We breathe oxygen, Captain Martinez said. About 21% oxygen in our air. The rest is mostly nitrogen. Dr. Vextari quickly checked his database. His face went pale. Captain, 21% oxygen would be poisonous to most species we know. The galactic average is about 8% oxygen. Captain Martinez shrugged. Really? 21% seems pretty normal to us. Sometimes when we go to high mountains, the oxygen gets thinner and we have trouble breathing. Dr. Hrimtok was now bright red. You go to places with even less oxygen for fun? Well, not exactly for fun, Captain Martinez laughed. Some people like hiking and mountain climbing. I went to Mount McKinley once. That was tough. The air gets pretty thin up there. Dr. Vextari frantically searched his computer. Mount McKinley was over 6,000 meters high. At that altitude, the oxygen level would be about half of Earth's normal amount. That would still be more than twice the galactic average. Captain, Dr. Vextari said slowly, you climbed a mountain where the air has less oxygen and you survived? Sure. Lots of people do it. You just have to be in good shape and take your time. Some people even climb Mount Everest, which is even higher. Dr. Hrimtok had to lean against the wall. His crystals were cycling through colors so fast they looked like a disco ball. How high is Mount Everest? About 8,800 meters, Captain Martinez said. The air up there is really thin. You need special equipment and training. Dr. Vextari felt dizzy. These humans climbed mountains that were nearly 9,000 meters high, where the oxygen levels would kill most galactic species instantly. And they did it for entertainment. Let us talk about gravity, Dr. Hrimtok said, trying to stay calm. What is the gravity like on Earth? Pretty standard, Captain Martinez replied. About 9.8 meters per second squared. We call it 1G. Dr. Vextari checked his database again. He felt his stomach drop. Captain, that is nearly 3 times the galactic average gravity. Most inhabited worlds have gravity around 3.5 meters per second squared. Captain Martinez looked confused. 3 times higher? But we feel normal in this gravity here on your station. Dr. Vexitari realized that the station's gravity was set to the galactic standard. The humans had been living in gravity that was 3 times weaker than what they were used to, and they had not even noticed. Do you feel lighter here? Dr. Hrimtok asked. Captain Martinez thought about it. Maybe a little. I thought it was just because I was feeling better after the medical treatment. Dr. Vextari was starting to understand why the humans were so incredibly strong and durable. They came from a world with crushing gravity and poisonous air. Just surviving on Earth would make them incredibly tough compared to beings from normal worlds. What about temperature? Dr. Vextari asked. What temperatures do humans live in? Oh, all kinds, Captain Martinez said. People live everywhere from the Arctic, where it gets down to -40 degrees, to deserts where it can be over 50 degrees above zero. Dr. Hrimtalk's crystals went white. -40 degrees, that is below the freezing point of most biological fluids. How do you survive? We wear warm clothes and build heated shelters, Captain Martinez explained. Some people actually like cold weather. They go skiing and ice fishing. Ice fishing? Dr. Vextari repeated weakly. Yeah, you cut a hole in frozen water and catch fish through it. It's pretty relaxing. Dr. Hrimtalk sat down heavily in his chair. These humans lived in temperatures that would freeze most species solid, and they considered it relaxing entertainment. What about the hot places? Dr. Vextari asked, afraid of the answer. Deserts can get pretty hot, Captain Martinez said. Some places reach 60 degrees or more. People still live and work there, though. You just need to drink lots of water and stay in the shade during the hottest parts of the day. Dr. Vextari checked his database. 60 degrees was hot enough to cook most organic materials, but humans just drank water and stayed in shade. Captain, Dr. Hrimtalk said carefully, do humans have any natural predators on Earth? Captain Martinez laughed. Not really, not anymore. We're pretty much at the top of the food chain now, but there are still some dangerous animals. Bears, big cats, sharks, venomous snakes, poisonous spiders. Venomous snakes? Dr. Vextari whispered. Sure, some snake bites can kill you if you don't get medical treatment quickly. Same with some spider bites. And bears are really dangerous if you surprise them. Dr. Hrimtalk was now a pale gray color. So Earth has creatures that can kill humans? Well, yeah, Captain Martinez said. But most of them try to avoid people. You just have to be careful and know what you're doing. Dr. Vextari realized something terrible. Captain, if Earth has creatures that can kill humans, and humans are the toughest species we have ever seen, then these Earth creatures must be incredibly deadly. Captain Martinez nodded. Some of them, sure. That's why we developed tools and weapons and learned to work together. Humans are not the biggest or strongest animals on Earth. Dr. Hrimtalk made a choking sound. Not the strongest? Oh, no, Captain Martinez said. Elephants are much stronger than humans. So are gorillas and tigers and lots of other animals. Humans are successful because we're smart and we work as a team. Dr. Vextari felt like his worldview was collapsing. If humans were not even the strongest creatures on their planet, what kind of monsters must live on Earth? Captain, Dr. Vextari asked in a small voice, what do humans do for fun? Besides climbing deadly mountains and fishing in frozen water? Captain Martinez brightened up. Oh, lots of things. Sports are really popular. Football, basketball, hockey, boxing, martial arts. Some people like extreme sports like skydiving, rock climbing, or motorcycle racing. Skydiving? Dr. Hrimtalk asked weakly. You jump out of an aircraft with a parachute and fall through the sky. It's a real rush. Dr. Vextari stared at the captain. You jump out of flying vehicles? On purpose? For entertainment? Sure. Some people do it without parachutes and land in water. That's called cliff diving. Dr. Hrimtalk's crystals went completely black. He had fainted. Dr. Vextari helped his friend to the medical bay while Captain Martinez looked worried. Is he okay? Did I say something wrong? No, Captain, Dr. Vextari said sadly. You just helped us realize that Earth is the most terrifying death world in the galaxy, and humans are the most incredible survivors we have ever encountered. Captain Martinez looked out the window at the peaceful stars. Death world? Earth's really not that bad once you get used to it. Dr. Vextari shuddered. Getting used to Earth would probably kill any other species in the galaxy. But for humans, it was just home. Dr. Hrimtalk woke up 3 hours later in the medical bay. His crystal body was a weak yellow color, which meant he was still recovering from shock. Dr. Vextari was sitting beside his bed looking through medical reports. How are you feeling? Dr. Vextari asked his friend. Like I have learned too much about the universe, Dr. Hrimtalk replied weakly. Tell me the humans jumping out of aircraft was just a bad dream. Dr. Vextari shook his head. I am afraid not. And I have more news. I have been watching the humans for the past few hours while you were unconscious. Their healing process is even more impossible than we thought. Dr. Hrimtok sat up slowly. Show me. They walked to the human section of the medical bay. Lieutenant. Foster was sitting on her bed, but something was different. The cast on her leg looked smaller than before. Lieutenant Foster, Dr. Vextari called. How are you feeling today? She looked up and smiled. Much better, doctor. My leg is feeling stronger. I think the bone is healing really well. Dr. Vextari pulled out his medical scanner and pointed it at her leg. His eyes went wide. Dr. Hrimtok, look at this. Dr. Hrimtok looked at the scanner readings. His crystals immediately turned bright orange. This is impossible. Her bone has healed 30% in just 3 days. That should take weeks for any species we know. Lieutenant Foster looked interested. Is that fast? I always heard that broken bones take about 6 weeks to heal completely. 6 weeks? Dr. Hrimtok repeated. For most species, a break like yours would take 6 months to heal, if it healed at all. Lieutenant Foster seemed surprised. Really? Humans are pretty good at healing, I guess. When I was a kid, I broke my arm and it was good as new in about a month. Dr. Vexitari made notes. On his pad, human children healed even faster than adults. What kind of evolution would create beings that could repair themselves so quickly? They moved on to Engineer Sullivan. He was standing near the window, doing something that looked like exercise. He was moving his arms and legs in repeated motions, and he was breathing heavily. Mr. Sullivan, Dr. Hrimtok said, what are you doing? Sullivan stopped and wiped sweat from his forehead. Just some light exercise, Doc. Got to keep the blood moving to help heal faster. Dr. Vextari scanned Sullivan with his medical equipment. The radiation levels in his body had dropped by 60%. How is this possible? He whispered to Dr. Hrimtok. Radiation does not just disappear from living tissue. Sullivan heard them talking. Oh, you mean the radiation poisoning? Yeah, I figured my body would filter most of it out in a few days. The human liver and kidneys are pretty good at cleaning out toxins. Dr. Hrimtok's crystals flickered between colors. Your liver can remove radiation? Well, not exactly remove it, Sullivan explained. But it helps process the damaged cells and replace them with healthy ones. Plus, exercise helps move the lymphatic system, which carries away waste products. Dr. Vexitari had never heard of a lymphatic system. He made more notes. Humans had a separate system just for removing waste and toxins from their bodies. They were interrupted by a loud alarm sound from across the room. Dr. Vextari and Dr. Hrimtok rushed over to see what was happening. Ensign Chris Turner, a young human with red hair, was standing near a control panel that was flashing red lights. Sorry, Chris said quickly. I was just curious about how your medical equipment works. I think I accidentally triggered some kind of security system. Suddenly, Chris changed. His breathing became faster and deeper. His muscles seemed to grow larger. His eyes became more focused and alert. The medical scanners that were pointed at him started beeping wildly. Dr. Hrimtok looked at his readings. His heart rate just doubled. His blood pressure is through the roof. His muscle tension has increased by 300%. But Chris was not in pain or distress. Instead, he seemed more awake and energetic than before. He quickly pressed several buttons on the control panel and the alarm stopped. There we go, Chris said calmly. Fixed it. Sorry about that. Within a few minutes, Chris returned to normal. His breathing slowed down, his muscles relaxed, and the scanners showed normal readings again. What just happened to you? Dr. Vexitari asked, amazed. Chris looked confused. What do you mean? I heard the alarm and got a little adrenaline rush, that's all. Adrenaline rush? Dr. Hrimtok repeated. Captain Martinez, who had been watching from nearby, came over to explain. When humans face danger or stress, our bodies release a chemical called adrenaline. It makes us stronger and faster for a short time. It's an automatic response. Dr. Vexitari stared at the captain. Your bodies can automatically make you stronger? Sure, Captain Martinez said. It's called the fight or flight response. When We sense danger. Our body prepares us to either fight the threat or run away from it. Dr. Hrimtok sat down heavily. His crystals were now cycling through every color he had. So humans can become temporarily superhuman when they are in danger? I wouldn't call it superhuman, Captain Martinez laughed. Just a little boost. Some people can lift cars off of trapped victims during emergencies. Others can run faster than they normally could. Dr. Vexistari made frantic notes. Humans had an emergency system that could give them extra strength and speed when they needed it. No wonder they had survived on such a dangerous planet. Over the next few days, the alien doctors continued to observe the humans. They watched Captain Martinez's head wound heal completely, leaving only a small scar. They saw Corporal Wang recover from her blood loss without any problems. They observed the humans' incredible immune systems fighting off infections that would have killed other species. But what amazed them most was the humans' attitude. Despite being injured and stranded far from home, they remained cheerful and helpful. They told jokes, played games, and even organized a small party to celebrate Engineer Sullivan's recovery. I do not understand, Dr. Hrimtok said to Dr. Vextari one evening. They have been through terrible trauma. They should be depressed or fearful. Instead, they act like they are on vacation. Dr. Vexistari had been thinking about the same thing. I think their mental strength matches their physical strength. They are as tough mentally as they are physically. They watched as Lieutenant Foster taught some of the alien nurses a human game called cards. She was laughing and joking even though her leg was still in a cast. You know what's funny? Lieutenant Foster was saying to the nurses. This is actually pretty relaxing compared to our last mission. We had to explore a planet with active volcanoes and poisonous gas in the atmosphere. The alien nurses looked horrified. Dr. Hrimtok's crystals went pale gray. Poisonous gas? One of the nurses asked, weakly. Oh yeah, Lieutenant Foster said casually. Hydrogen sulfide, I think. We had to wear special suits the whole time, and the ground kept shaking from the volcano eruptions. That was a tough week. Dr. Vexitari realized that for humans, their current situation was actually a break from their normal, dangerous lifestyle. What other species would consider a life-threatening emergency, humans saw as a chance to rest and relax. That night, Dr. Vexitari and Dr. Hrimtok sat in the cafeteria, trying to process everything they had learned. We need to document all of this, Dr. Vexitari said. The galactic medical community needs to know about these humans. Dr. Hrimtok nodded, his crystals a thoughtful blue color. They are going to revolutionize everything we know about medicine. If we can understand how humans heal so fast and survive so much damage, we might be able to help other species do the same. Dr. Vexistari looked out at the stars. I think these humans are going to change the galaxy forever. Neither doctor knew how right he was. 3 weeks after the humans arrived at the station, Dr. Vexitari was preparing the most important presentation of his career. Word had spread through the galactic medical community about the impossible patients from Earth. Doctors from across the galaxy were demanding to know more about these incredible beings. Dr. Hrimtok helped him organize the data they had collected. His crystal body was a nervous purple color as he sorted through the medical files. Are you sure we should present all of this? Dr. Hrimtok asked. Some of these findings are so incredible that other doctors might not believe us. Dr. Vexitari looked at the healing scans of Lieutenant Foster's leg. The bone was now completely healed, stronger than it had been before the break. They will have to believe us. The evidence is right here. The Universal Medical Council meeting was held on the planet Medicus Prime, the center of galactic medicine. Dr. Vexistari stood in front of 300 of the most respected doctors in the galaxy. Representatives from dozens of species filled the Great Hall. Honored colleagues, Dr. Vexistari began. 3 weeks ago, I encountered a species that has forced me to question everything I thought I knew about biology and medicine. He activated the holographic display showing images of the human crew. Murmurs spread through the audience as they saw the strange bipedal creatures. These beings call themselves humans, and they come from a planet called Earth. What I am about to show you will challenge our understanding of what is possible in biological science. Dr. Vexitari presented his findings step by step. He showed the scans of Lieutenant Foster's compound fracture and how it had healed in just 3 weeks. The audience gasped when they saw the before and after images. Dr. Zindar, a respected physician from the Aquarian system, stood up. Dr. Vexitari, surely there is some mistake. No species can heal bone damage that quickly. I thought the same thing, Dr. Vexitari replied. But we have continuous scans showing the entire healing process. The human's bones actually become stronger after they heal from breaks. He continued with Engineer Sullivan's radiation recovery. When he showed the scans of radiation levels dropping from lethal to normal in just 2 weeks, half the audience stood up in disbelief. "This is impossible," shouted Dr. Krell, a famous toxicology expert. "Radiation damage cannot simply disappear from living tissue." Dr. Hrimtok stepped forward, his crystals glowing with confidence. "I performed these scans myself. The human liver and kidney systems can process and remove toxins that would kill any other species. They have redundant filtration systems throughout their bodies." Dr. Vexitari then showed the recordings of Chris Turner's adrenaline response. The audience watched in stunned silence as the young human's body automatically enhanced itself in response to stress. "The humans call this the fight or flight response," Dr. Vexitari explained. "When they perceive danger, their bodies can temporarily increase strength, speed, and reflexes by up to 300%. An elderly doctor from the Centauri Republic raised a shaky hand. "Dr. Vexitari, are you telling us that these humans have built-in biological enhancement systems?" "That is exactly what I'm telling you," Dr. Vexitari confirmed. "But that is not the most remarkable part." He activated a new display showing Earth's environmental data. The oxygen levels, gravity readings, and temperature ranges appeared in bright red text, the color used to indicate deadly conditions. "The humans evolved on what can only be classified as a Class 12 death world," Dr. Vexitari announced. "They breathe air that would poison most of us. They live in gravity that would crush our bones. They survive in temperatures that would freeze or cook most galactic species." The hall erupted in chaos. Doctors were shouting questions, arguing with each other, and demanding to see the data again. Dr. Vexitari waited for the noise to die down. "But perhaps most importantly," he continued, "the humans have developed medical techniques that we never imagined possible." He showed recordings of the humans describing their medical practices. Surgery, where doctors deliberately cut into bodies to repair damage. Blood transfusions, where healthy humans gave their blood to help injured ones. Organ transplants, where parts from one human could be put into another. Dr. Milani, the head of surgical research, fainted when she heard about heart transplants. The idea of removing and replacing the central circulation organ was beyond anything they had considered. "The humans routinely perform medical procedures that we consider impossible," Dr. Vexitari said. "They can replace organs, repair bones with metal implants, and even reattach severed limbs." Dr. Hrimtok added, "Their understanding of medicine is so advanced because they needed it to survive on their dangerous planet. They have been dealing with trauma and injury that would kill other species for thousands of years." The presentation continued for 3 hours. Dr. Vexitari showed brain scans proving that humans could remain conscious through injuries that would render other species comatose. He demonstrated their incredible pain tolerance and their ability to function with damaged organs. When he finished, the hall was completely silent. 300 of the galaxy's best doctors sat in stunned amazement. Finally, Dr. Ashwin, the council president, stood up. "Dr. Vexitari, if everything you have shown us is true, then these humans represent the greatest medical discovery in galactic history." "It is all true," Dr. Vexitari confirmed. "I have brought video recordings, tissue samples, and complete medical files." Dr. Ashwin looked around the hall at his colleagues. "Then I propose that we immediately begin a comprehensive study of human medicine and biology. This knowledge could save millions of lives across the galaxy." The vote was unanimous. Every doctor in the hall agreed that human medicine needed to be studied and integrated into galactic medical practice. 6 months later, Dr. Vexitari received a message that made him smile. The Galactic Medical Institute had published the first edition of their new textbook, Advanced Galactic Medicine 5th edition. Chapter 12 was titled, Humans' Medical Impossibilities from the Death World Terra. The chapter was 30 pages long and was required reading for all medical students in the galaxy. It covered human anatomy, their incredible healing abilities, their resistance to injury, and their revolutionary medical techniques. Dr. Vextari visited Earth to attend the opening of the first human medical research center. Captain Martinez met him at the spaceport, completely recovered from his injuries. "So we're famous now?" Captain Martinez asked with a grin. "More than famous," Dr. Vexitari replied. "You have revolutionized medicine across the galaxy. Medical students on 1,000 worlds are learning about human biology." Captain Martinez laughed. "That's pretty amazing. Though I still don't understand why everyone thinks we're so tough. We're just regular people." Dr. Vexitari looked around. At Earth's blue sky, breathed the oxygen-rich air that would have killed him without his breathing apparatus, and felt the crushing gravity that humans considered normal. "Captain," he said, "there is nothing regular about humans. You are the most remarkable species in the galaxy." As they walked through the research center, Dr. Vextari saw human doctors teaching alien medical students how to perform surgery. He watched as human techniques for treating trauma were demonstrated to amazed alien physicians. In the children's ward, he saw young humans recovering from injuries that would have been fatal to any other species. They were playing games, laughing, and healing at impossible speeds. Dr. Vexitari realized that meeting the humans had been the most important moment of his career. These incredible beings had shown the galaxy what was truly possible in medicine and biology. And the best part was that the humans were eager to share their knowledge. They welcomed alien doctors to study their techniques and learn from their experience. As Dr. Vextari prepared to return to his station, he looked back at Earth one more time. Somewhere down there, humans were climbing mountains, diving into deep oceans, and exploring dangerous places that would terrify most galactic species. They were just living their normal lives, completely unaware that they had become legends across the galaxy. The medical textbooks now taught that humans were impossible. But Dr. Vexitari knew better. Humans were not impossible. They were simply wonderful.